Originally, this talk was in Spanish, but the idea today is to do this in English, so uh, please be patient. I'm going to try to explain you a little bit about my thesis that I did for my master's degree. This is the result of a long process, as you will see. And at the end, I hope so you can create a mobile app in Python in 1 hour. So that's the basic idea, and I hope you enjoy the talk. Why create a mobile app with Python? Well, there is no an easy answer, but for me it was an emotional answer. I started my master's degree 4 years ago. As you know, a master's degree is planned for 2 years. For me, it was 4 years. Very difficult, but this is my first, my main motivation. My family, my wife, my son, and I think the first answer to that why that I put in my title, it should be an emotional answer. I think we should always have an emotional reason, and something that we can use every day to continue moving. And if we have some troubles, we can continue going forward if we have a strong emotional reason to do that. So this is my answer for that question. But of course, this is my personal answer. For you, I think is more interesting the rational answer. As you can see in the first video, this is the app that I created. I created completely in Python. So we are going to discuss how I create this and what framework did I use to create this app. Basically, the rational answer is why create a mobile app with Python? Because we can. Maybe some of you didn't know that. We can create mobile app with Python. Mobile apps for Android, for iOS, but also you can create with the same framework, you can create apps for desktop, Windows and Linux. It's simple, as you will see. It's cross-platform. Has a native performance graphics using OpenGL, and we can use all the Python ecosystem to create this kind of apps, mobile apps. So there are several reasons to create mobile apps with Python. And if you want to test, I hope you do that, please download the app. You can find it in the Google Play Store, and you can find it just with the name, Virtual Euclides. And just to verify that is the right app, you can check my author. The author is Leo CJJ. Why double JJ? Because my mother sometime told me, why you don't put the second last name in your signature? So after that, I put in always to JJ, because my last name, the last name of my mother is Jaramillo. So in honor to him, I always put 2 JJs. Something about me, basically I'm a husband, I'm a father. That is my main reason to do all that I do every day. I'm an engineer, and now I'm a software developer. I spend most of my time working in industries, pharmaceutical industries, and at the end I found that a software engineer is the best. So I think that's one of the reasons that because we are here. I love math, I love physics, I love solving problems, and I think that is the main reason why I start this path, because I like to get in troubles. I like to solve or to do things that apparently are not are not easy. So when I first tried to create a project for my thesis in my master's degree, I didn't want to do what all my peers were doing, creating some methodology or some activities to teach maths. I wanted to create something new, something that we can share with our students to do something interactive in the classroom. So that's why my first approach for this was to create a laboratory for geometry. But looks good if we imagine that we have some small pieces or things that we can use in a classroom. Maybe if we have some tools like this, geometry and maths in general can be easily. But normally we don't have these tools in our schools, in our universities. So I wanted to create a geometry lab, but 2020. So I was a professor in a local university in Cali. I come from Cali. So I lost my job as a professor. I had a consulting company. I had to close down this company because nobody wants to have a consulting in the area that I was working remotely. So that I had to close down this. And a lot of things happened that year, the world lockdown and pandemic and all these things. Of course, the image is created by Stable Diffusion. It's not a real image. But also good things happened this year, 2020. My son was born, and I was hired by Endava. So Endava gave me the opportunity to create a lot of things, professionally and personal things. So that's why I'm here. I started again. That is my little son, teaching me that we can pass through all these difficult things. We can do whatever we want if we have a strong why. But where should I start? I was an engineer, Python developer. What can I do if I cannot create a physical geometry lab? So I was thinking, okay, I can create something for the new reality, the new remote world, something virtual. I did some tests, virtual reality, augmented reality, and things like that. But finally, I decided that the best approach was to create an app. But well, an app for desktop, web, mobile, and looking around, almost everyone in Colombia, and this is almost the same for all the countries, almost everyone has a cell phone. And sometimes we have 2 cell phones. So it's very easy for everyone to use a mobile app if we have this available in our classroom. So I decided to create an app for mobile devices. But I'm a Python developer. I'm not a mobile developer. And that is another world. So I started searching, and I decided that it was the best approach for me, create a mobile app, because talking something about teaching, if we just read something, we don't learn much. But if we do some active things like working with something, doing some lab or doing some activities, we can learn almost 90% of the subject. So okay, an app, a mobile app really it's here simulating. So it's not it's not really far from the original objective. I start looking some technologies, some languages. The list is really endless. This is just a sample of what you can find out there. A lot of technologies, a lot of frameworks, languages, whatever you want to create mobile apps. Great tools. I test some of these tools, but at the end it was really difficult to me start learning a new technology because I had a son with 1 year. He wake me up every hour, father things. So, and I have my work at the now. So I was thinking, why not in Python? Because maybe it's a good idea. Here comes the sun, I say, it's all right. A lot of tools. I don't know if you knew all these tools, but we have a lot of options as Python developers to create mobile apps. Some of these tools can be used for another purposes, of course, but in general, these tools can be used to create a mobile app. Finally, I decided between two. These were the best two options, Viewer and Kiwi. Because of the development of these frameworks was very high, finally I decided to work with Kiwi. Basically because I wanted to have the option to use some math, graphics, and some libraries like NumPy, Pandas, etc. So Kiwi allows me that, and this is my personal decision, but depending on the case, you can use another one. So in the next part of the talk, we are going to discuss something about Kiwi and how I created this mobile application. This was the final result, a mobile app available in the Google Play Store. Just less than 20 megabytes. It's really lightweight and is highly available. So almost all the students in a classroom can download this with a Wi-Fi of the university or with its own data. And it's an open source project. So if you want to go to the repository, you can download it and you can build your own application. It's free, it's open source. And if you found some books, please let me know. I will really appreciate that. And this first stage or this first version has 29 interactive graphics that we are going to see. You want to learn a little bit more about how to create a mobile app with Kiwi. If you want to know about all the details to use this, you are really welcome to our workshop tomorrow. Gustavo is outside in the stand, and me. We are going to present a workshop tomorrow, 1 hour and a half. Working with you, teaching you the details. But the first start is really easy. The environment that you need is only create an environment with Kiwi and install it. That's all. With this, you can start working with Kiwi and execute all the test example that this framework has. So it's really easy to start development using Kiwi framework. This is a very short piece of code to show you how Kiwi works and how it's really useful for us as Python developers. Because it's not really easy to create visual apps or things like this directly in Python code. So what Kiwi does is to create a view, a model controller view. It just use this pattern to create nice apps, visually and technical apps. So first we have a class. This is the main class to execute the application. It runs forever. So this execution basically loads the root container. This first container gives us the option to use this interface. This interface gives us the option to create a view. This view is really simple to understand. We just create a class. As we are going to see in the next slide, this is a parameter for Python. And we define layouts similar to CSS or JavaScript. Think I'm not really good in front. But this really we can really understand this code very easy. Finally, I put here a container to put dynamic content from my Python code. So this is all that we need. A Kiwi file describing our interface and a Python code that works as a controller. So this is the controller class. It has the same name that the class in Kiwi file. And we can define all the controllers for all the events here in the Python code. And from the view, we can just call, as you can see right there, we can just call some methods. So in this way, we can communicate between the view and the controller. So in case we have some slider value, if some value for this slider changes, we are going to call our controller method. So this controller gives us the option to do whatever we want in Python. And finally, when we have we want to update some values in the interface, we just need to update these variables, and immediately we are going to see the result in the view. Graphically, this is a way to understand how these containers works. First, with a view, a root view, we define the menu that is general for all the pages in the app. Is the top menu, box layout, and this is a general container for dynamic content. And here I'm going to put the file that I need for different pages, as we are going to see in the live demo. And in each one of these pages, we can define the interface. We define the interface, the method that we are going to call, and if we need to put some information, we can use, for example, this restructured text. So we can use this format to put some text in a nice way. Deployment. We can create a beautiful app, but if we cannot deploy this very easy, maybe we are not going to do a lot of things. So this is all we need. This is an example of what we need to deploy this for an Android app. So we install an application that gives us the option to create these deployments, Bulldozer, and we define a spec file that is in the right side. And we have three options. We can debug this using our mobile phone, connecting the device using a USB cable, or we can create an APK file, and we can share this file with anyone. We can just send this file to another person, and every one of you can install directly this file without using any Google Play Store and things like that. But if we want to deploy this to Google Play Store, we need to do this Bulldozer Android release to create a file that can be uploaded to the Google Play Store. So it's really simple to deploy this application. This is an example for Android, but remember, as I told you at the beginning of the speech, we can do the same thing for iOS using the same code. So that is an advantage of this framework. We can do the same for Windows and for Linux. So let's see how this looks in Windows, for example. So it looks like this. So this is the app in Windows. It's a sample of the original app because this doesn't have all the menus. It's just for demo purposes. So we can create nice graphics interactively. We can do a lot of math inside this Python code. And this can be deployed for in cross platforms, for different platforms. And the code, basically, we have a main that create us the root container. And this root file is this. As you can see, we can define very easy all the logic that we need. And we can define here the methods that are going to be called in the Python code. So there are a lot of widgets that we can use. For example, a carousel, spinner. We are going to see this working in the mobile app. And it's very intuitive to read this code. Remember that is the view part. And this is the controller, the root widget. This controller has some properties, class properties, and in this case has only one method. And this method, what this method does is to read with these two lines of code. This method reads the values from the view. So it's really easy to share data from the view to the controller. And after do a lot of computations, at the end I just updating the values for points and lines, basically. This is line 6, for example. I'm updating values for lines and points. And where is this value? Where we use this value in the view. So this value are right here. So in this part, we read from the root the values of the line 1, point A, B, C, etc. So everyone can create a mobile app and do a lot of things with Python and use a lot of libraries or packages from Python. So that is the demo with Windows. So let's see how this looks in my cell phone. So this is my cell phone live. This is the app. It's loading. And we can navigate for several options. Remember that this is a application to teach geometry, so it has some basic concepts of geometry. And all this menu is configured using KB file. Maybe for some of you, trigonometry is not the best subject, the most desirable subject, but maybe with this app you can remember that concept from the college. So that's how it looks in a mobile device. Basically, that's it. I hope you can download the app. It's not really difficult to use, and I think every one of you can create a mobile app in just 1 hour or so. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have some questions, we can go to check the code again, or if you have another kind of questions, please let me know. Thank you.